Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Bad Luck Gamer, and today I'm going to be talking about Vampire the Masquerade and finally, my final thoughts on the game a month after we played it. I'm so sorry this video has taken so long to get out to everyone. PaizoCon kind of messed things up, and then I've been trying to keep up with my current flow while also trying to make up for these, remainder videos left behind. Hopefully, with this video being done, I'll either be posting it on the Saturday of the, what day is it today? Saturday the 18th of June, or it will be somewhere in the following week. I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully soon, so I can get working on the Starfinder one. But that does not mean that Vampire the Masquerade was a bad game by any standards. In fact, it was an amazing game. Right now, we're going to go look over some of the interviews I had with my players during the one shot we had, and then I'm going to go ahead and give some of my final thoughts on the game. So I hope you all enjoy. All right, hello.
Oh, hey, what's up? Fancy seeing you here.
Fancy seeing you here. Yeah, so you've been through the interview process before. I'm just going to ask a few questions based on, the experience you had. But I think first I'd like to ask, how'd you enjoy the game? How'd you enjoy the one shot?
It was fun. I really want to play more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't that always the case?
it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, one of the things about these shorter one-shot test sessions is we're just seeing how cool the games are, and sometimes the games are just really, really cool.
Yeah, happened with Lancer, happened with this.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So, speaking on that, on like a 1 to 5 scale, 1 to 10 scale, one being you didn't enjoy it at all, 10 being funnest game you've ever played, where would you place Vampire the Masquerade?
9?
A 9?
9. Yes.
Okay. Well, what
It's
makes it a 9 for you?
um around like placing it around um Pathfinder in like how the amount of choices there are in a system. Like, yeah, your clan can mainly can define your character, but even with two, I think it was Ventru, we had like two different characters, with one being a child super soldier and one just being typical Ventru, just being like the face of the party.
Mm-hmm. And you
Um,
mentioned Pathfinder. So what would you score Pathfinder to compare, I guess?
um, on 9 as well.
Okay, so it's on the same level of
Yeah,
something like Pathfinder. Okay.
yeah. As what also factored into it as well was it was a lot more toned down and more like, yes, we're vampires, but it's like I've been to Seattle before. It's something I can visit,
Mm-hmm.
and just the realness of it kind of just brought it up a bit.
Okay, so you felt a lot more immersed because it kind of has a setting you're very familiar with.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I was able to go onto Google Maps and be like, oh yeah, this is the exact scene we're in.
Yep, that's true. Okay, cool, cool. Then what makes Vampire the Masquerade different for you than compared to like some other tabletop games?
It's my first non D20 based system. Every system I've played has been like D20 based. This is my first, I think it's D10 based.
Yes, D10.
Um, just like I, like it being D20, D10 based, and as well as just I don't know how exactly to describe it, but just how characters work with just like innate like bloodness, like how it's not how do I describe it? Not magical in a way. We're like super supernatural and stuff. It's different compared to other systems I've had or
Okay,
experienced.
so what you're saying is one, the dice system is very different than what you've done before, so that was cool, and two, that the characters feel almost powerful in a sense because they have supernatural abilities that are just not normal in the setting.
Yeah, and not normal for like other settings that I've seen. Like I've never like there is monk for uh like D&D and Pathfinder, who like they are able to run up walls, but vampire in its thing I had celerity discipline, I think it was, that just
Yes.
being able to run up the w walls like the power I had, just that just gives off a different vibe. This system does a
Okay.
really good way in portraying, like in its descriptions of just how supernatural you are.
Okay. Now, I know this session you really didn't really get much chance to act or do anything, unfortunately. Sometimes this is how it goes. In a 3 hour, 4 hour span, it's really hard to get to everyone. Uh, but still, was there anything about the system you did not like or anything that happened that, was not something you found favorable?
Uh, Honestly, not really. I feel like I played my character to the best of what I could in the situation because my character is more combat focused going into this. I did know that it was unlikely combat would happen, and I accepted that. But I felt it necessary that they needed to have we needed that in the group just in case.
Okay, that's fair.
But
And who knows what could
other,
happen.
yeah, so we had me just in case. We ended up not needing me, but I'm all right with that. No complaints about the system at all.
Okay. Speaking of then your intended purpose, what was the role you were trying to fill for the party, and do you feel that you accomplished that?
Bruiser tank sort of person who was also just really fast and could chase someone down if need be. Um, I didn't really fill that role because it was not really necessary in the one shot.
That's fair. That's fair.
But
Looking at the abilities, though, how do you feel like for fulfilling that role? Do you think your abilities really played into that?
yeah, I mean, definitely. Like I have uh one ability that just I can add my potence rating to unarmed damage as well as feats of strength and half my potence rating to melee damage. And another one that just I can add my celerity rating to any non-combat dexterity checks I make in a scene.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like
Okay.
I would have been able to do that really well.
Okay. I mean, it's important. Like the theory crafting is definitely a part of the experience as well. And like you said, we didn't really get to that in this session, so it's hard to speak on. But yeah. All right, then I guess I just really have one last question. On a scale 1 to 10, how likely would you be to play this game again? 1 being never again, 10 being I want to play right away.
Um, 11 because I want to play right now.
Right now, yeah. I figured that was gonna be your answer. Okay, cool. Well, then, I guess any remarks on your experience? Like, how was it for you overall? Just give us something to end off with.
Really fun. If you're interested in this game and you have the availability to get a game of this going, definitely try and get this out. I recommend this game a lot.
Okay, it's good praise. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and send you back and tell Alicia she's got 5 seconds to live.
Okay.
Welcome.
Oh, hello.
Welcome to the interview.
Okay, that jump scared me a little bit, I won't lie.
I did tell Slug to warn you.
There was no warning, I just got warped into here.
Oh, yeah, I told Slug to warn you, and I guess she didn't let you know. But all right. So, how'd you like the game? How'd you like Vampire?
I really liked it, it was really awesome. I expected a little bit of combat, but I'm completely fine with that. But it was amazing. I would love to see more of it, but I get you have a
Hmm.
busy schedule, and I respect that, so no pressure.
I get you. I get you. It is a really good system. Speaking on that, on a scale of about like 1 to 10, how much did you like the system? How much fun did you have? 1 being I hated this game. I never want to play it again. 10 being it's my new favorite tabletop system.
I would say like 8.5 or 9. I really liked it. It was very unique. It was confusing to learn at the beginning with setting up the sheet, but besides that, I had a lot of fun.
Okay, yeah, that's 8.5, 9. That's pretty good praise. What makes it that high for you? What really stood out to you in this game?
It was just different than everything I've done before. Like, making this character was really cool. I didn't expect them to be really awesome, but they turned out to be. And it was kind of cool basing it in Seattle because I live in Washington, so it's kind of cool to relate to that. And then just a different scene versus like being in the medieval ages versus like modern society it was a nice perspective.
So you felt like you got to make a really cool character, and you enjoyed the fact that the setting was something you could really immerse yourself in because it's something in the real world that you have been to or at least can imagine being in.
Yeah, it's easy to make cool characters in Pathfinder, but I thought it was cool that I accidentally made this cool character. You know?
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Okay. So, what I guess you kind of stated it already, but what really stands out to you about Vampire compared to other tabletop games?
The store, like the options you could pick, were a lot darker. I feel like with what I've played with, like Pathfinder, you would have to be like, I want a dark story, but with this one, it was kind of unavoidable, which what isn't bad, but it's kind of cool and something new, which is pretty nice.
Okay, so you really liked the darker themes of Vampire.
Yeah, and the dice rolls were pretty cool. It was a little bit weird at first, honestly, because I had to ask you constantly what the difficulty was, but it was pretty cool seeing new things, though.
Okay, and it was a new dice system as well, and you found that interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, was there anything about the game that you didn't like, or anything that you found, not to your liking about the system, how it works, or the setting, or anything like that?
Maybe because I'm new to this, but I wish it was a little bit more user friendly because I had a hard time making my sheet. I won't lie to you. And I was a little bit confused about what to put where. But besides that, I liked it. I really liked it.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. It's not like Pathfinder where everything is very easy to like slot in or anything like that. You had to type or copy paste a lot of things, and that's kind of Roll20. But it would be no different than doing it at the table yourself as well. So okay, that's fair. That's fair. What was the role you were trying to provide in this game, and do you feel like you're able to accomplish that role?
I was kind of going for like kind of a nerd, kind of know all, and kind of could kick ass too. The kick ass part didn't work out as planned, but I wish I would have helped a little bit more. But I, I think I did all right.
Okay, so you were kind of going for a slight investigative slash combat character, a little bit, right? That's what you would say.
Yeah,
And yeah, unfortunately, with these shorter sessions, you don't really get that much chance. We have 4 hours to do stuff with, and you have to contend with other people for time and anything like that. It's a little unfortunate, but based on your character's abilities and powers, do you feel like they really suited the goal you were going for with your character?
oh yeah. It definitely matched because they were basically a child super soldier, so and they were like kind of the perfect person. So I think both of those fit perfectly.
Okay, cool. All right, well, then with that, I guess I only really have one question left. How likely would you be to play the game again? Would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being never want to play this game again, 10 being I can't wait for my next session?
Definitely Ted. If you said
10.
we were gonna play this game again, I would, without a doubt, do it again.
It's good praise. That's good praise. All right, cool. All right, well, then with that, that's pretty much all I need from you. But go ahead and give us something close. Give us like your last thoughts on the system and anything you have on your mind about Vampire the Masquerade.
Nothing really screams out to me. I just really liked it, really enjoyed it, and different perspective was really awesome. That's all I have to say, really.
Okay, that's fair. Alrighty. Well, that's going to be everything I need. Tell Alex that he's got a few seconds to live.
Okay, I'll let him know.
I'm just gonna do it myself. Oh my god, I just saw the Twitch. You left. It's just me here. I have the mod privileges. I can join. Fine, I'm just gonna wait here.
You know, I'm going to add that to the cut now.
I was doing a bit with like, no, don't take me, no, and then he just didn't do anything. I was like, I have mod privileges. I'm just gonna go in myself, I guess.
I had to use the restroom real quick.
It's not allowed. You're working.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm not getting paid to piss on streams. So. But anyway, welcome.
Hello.
So yeah, how'd you enjoy Vampire? How fun was it for you?
I really like Vampire. This I think session sold it. I really liked the one shot we did, the Halloween one. That was super fun. I think I like this character. Just the fact that I like playing this character more. I think I had a more fun idea for a character rather than my last one. So I enjoy this a lot. It really cemented that this is a good system. I like how it's set up. I think my role was really fun. Like, just all kind of came together really interestingly.
Okay, well, then speaking on that, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you hated the game and 10 being it's your new favorite tabletop system, where would you rate Vampire?
9.
9. Woo. We can get a lot of 9s, actually. This is the third one.
So far, I mean, Lancer scratches the itch of sci-fi war game, so I get multiple, like, stuff. VTM, I really like. It's just, come with a cool character, have a fun, like, chronicle going on.
What makes Vampire a 9 for you? Like, what about it?
It's set up. So I'll say, it's actual like entering in VTM is not a really. It's not a great task. It's very daunting, like creating a character. But like once you actually get into play, everything works really well. Everything functions super well. And then also, if you're playing with VTM lore nerds, like turns out this universe got some fucking weird shit in it.
It's got some really funky lore, yeah. It's something you could never address in a one-shot.
Yeah, every time I'm talking to someone like Vale or my buddy, he's playing in a campaign with DM Lore Nerd, dropping some lore, and I'm like, what? That's hype. That's so cool. Like, each time I hear something new about this world.
Yeah. Was there anything about the game experience or anything we did that, you didn't like about the game system, anything in particular that rubbed you the wrong way?
Not really. I guess honestly the only thing would have been if we had combat, because I like me a good combat system. From what it sounds like, VTM's kind of mediocre. I've heard some very fun combat scenarios that my friend has been thrown into. That I remember, I when he was explaining the combats he was in, I was like, that sounds awesome. And I wonder how much VTM is capable of that stuff. But I don't know.
From my own experience with the system prior edition, to be fair, and just my knowledge of White Wolf in general, the combat system is kind of basic. It's kind of clunky in some spaces, can take some time. But what makes Vampire really fun is powers that let you run up walls, all kinds of weird magic abilities. The fact that y'all fighting on top of a train is a very likely scenario to happen. And there's all kinds of ways you can do it, whether it's running on the side of the train, whether it's reaching up and pulling like a steel beam off of a nearby like overhead and using that as a weapon. Like, you can do that kind of stuff in Vampire really easy, but the combat itself is pretty straight and mundane.
Yeah, I would have had to try it, is the thing. I had no issues or concerns with the anything else. There's nothing else that rubbed me the wrong way.
Okay, cool. So what was your overall like role that you were trying to accomplish, and did you feel that you were able to do that?
I wanted to be the investigator, like person who has like a job that comes up relatively often, or at least the weird precog. And I think it went really well. You did a great job and immediately going into just Disco Elysium because like I that first time I used it, it felt like you were describing a scene out of Disco.
I mean, yeah, I've recently played Disco myself. How could I
Exactly.
not?
Yeah, I could even feel like the tone, and also I was listening to the soundtrack, so I was like, ooh, oh boy. But like I think the concept of a character that like my interpretation of it is literally like he has actual precognition powers because that's a real thing for vampires,
Mhm.
but he's also really really intelligent. Like, he's super smart, but his Malkavian curse like manifests it, so he has a really weird framing device to justify everything. When in reality, a lot of the stuff is stuff he might come up with on his own, or through just magic that he doesn't know he's using.
It's fair.
And like I think it's fun. I think it's really interesting. I like the whole bit of like like precog, like yeah, screaming teeth, and the entire session people are like, what? He's like, oh, there it is. I was right. And I also like characters that are like the all right, you just have to put up with them because he gets results.
Yeah, that's true. And I missed this question earlier. What separates Vampire from other tabletop systems for you?
Pure aesthetic, probably. The aesthetic of it, and there's a lot of care put into the terminology, the lore, how everything looks and functions. It feels properly vampire. Like you play VTM, you're like, yeah, this is a vampire game.
It's true.
Like it's something interesting about it because VTM, I've said a few times, is like the only piece of vampire fiction that I give a shit about. Because I normally don't like vampire stuff. I think it's really lame. I don't like the haughty like vampire character types.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little overdone. Or not even like disparaging on like lore stuff or even character ideas, but it's just like when people are like vampires. Oh yes, like this. It is always done the exact same way in like
Yeah.
other media. Is that problem? VTM actually expands on a lot of shit for it. So I think having like a really creative universe that everything takes place in, like all these different supernatural elements, like all this, like basically like what 4 or 5 urban fantasy games in one universe.
Yeah, potentially more. They've had more in the past.
I know there's the demon one that didn't sell. Like, what is there a ghost one?
The Ghost one did sell. Geist sold pretty well.
Yeah, and I know werewolf. They always talk about werewolf.
Yeah,
And
there's Werewolf, Geists, Changeling, Hunter, Mage, and then they had Primordial before, but that didn't work so well.
Yeah, like the idea, like having game systems that let you play as different supernatural creatures in a big urban fantasy setting rather than making one system where you get portions of all of those is a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
That is a excellent thing to do, so you can have a group of people that pick a style of like an aesthetic, a type, and they can run with it. Because some people, I'm certain, would flock more to Geist or to werewolf, like or vampire.
Fair.
I'd probably flock to Hunter, but that's me.
It's fair.
I don't
know.
So
Overall, what you really liked was you enjoyed the kind of dark aesthetic, World of Darkness lore and aesthetic, and you felt like the world was handled really, really well.
Oh yeah, they did a great job.
Okay. All right. Well, then I guess just the one big question. How likely would you be to play this game again on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being never play it again, 10 being I can't wait for my next session.
9.5. 10.
9.5.
Yeah. No, I would if we actually did like VTM campaign, here we go. I would struggle not to try and make time for it. Like, because I think because I was saying this in the game chat, like we were waiting, if we actually did a VTM campaign, I would totally bring back Ted. I really like this character and playing him. I think it's super fun. I would just work to make him function more as a long play character. By that, just detailing his personality and like psychology more in my head,
Mhm.
making him have more interesting things going on rather than like for the one shot. He talked to object.
Mhm.
That thing doesn't talk. I'd add more shit to it.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's pretty big. That's I think the biggest rating you've gotten on a play again.
Yeah, no,
Since
I do
starting.
the same for like Lancer, but like um I really like playing one shots every time, but no, VTM is a great time. I think we can get with like our group of players. I think we can make something really really cool.
We could make a really good storyline. I agree with that. But okay, well, great. Go ahead, leave us with some final thoughts on the system for, well, like your overall opinion and anything else you wanted to voice about the game before we end here.
I'll say personally, I've mentioned it on our Discord. The idea of pass fail, like success and failure dice stuff, I always find is really weird and a strange choice. I don't fully understand it, though it might just because I haven't read the book and like read their little blurb on how the dice checks work. I guess actually, yeah, my bigger complaint is more of on my own fault of knowledge that like I'm making these checks and I'm like, that seems about right. Thanks, dice roller. Like telling me that I succeeded rather than me understanding why I've succeeded. Though again, that's on me more than the design system itself. I am too used to playing in like number based stuff rather than pure success and fail.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting insight. That's very interesting insight. All right. So go ahead and tell Booter he's got a few seconds to live.
Can do.
Welcome.
Oh God. Alex didn't warn me.
He should have.
I was stolen away with no knowledge, not even any understanding of what killed me.
I said I waited like 5 seconds, so I don't know. That's on him.
Well, the slug. Slug didn't warn Alicia either.
Yeah, apparently. All right, so, welcome. How'd you enjoy Vampire?
I liked it. I liked it quite a bit.
Liked it quite a bit. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you hated the game and 10 being it's your new favorite tabletop system, where would you rate Vampire?
It's up there. It's somewhere between an 8 and a 10. It's pretty good. I think without knowing like combat and stuff, I could probably only give it like an 8 morally. But with room to improve based on combat.
Okay.
But I liked it.
I mean, that's fair. Vampire, as I said, I think Vampire always flourishes most when it's a mostly social kind of game. The combat, again, from my knowledge, I played Vampire in a prior edition, and then I know how White Wolf works generally. The combat just kind of works on the same as how they do their dice rolls. It's you get so many successes, whatever damage you do adds over armor. It's pretty mundane. It's just you add vampire powers on top of it and how they can work, and that's what adds some spice to the combat. But the combat system itself is not very intricate.
I think it'd be interesting.
8's still pretty good.
Yeah.
And I mean,
like
it's
it
a
a lot.
tentative 8. If the combat was good, there might be a 9 or 10.
Yeah, I also think it helped my opinion that I played a face. Love that.
That's fair. What makes Vampire different from other tabletop games you've played?
It's based on like the setting. It's sort of like it has it makes you go into like an underground society type dealio, which I thought was real fun and haven't experienced that in tabletop before yet. So I enjoyed that. Like the whole like secret society type stuff. And also like in a lot of like tabletop games, obviously the players are more powerful than the general NPC. But I feel like in this one, like that was taken to like the next level, because usually it's like you're the same type of thing as the NPCs. It's just you're better at what they do because you're the player. But this was like, no, you can absolutely dunk on anyone. That's not like that's just like a regular person. So I thought that was interesting too, having like a distinct like level above the general populace, even at low levels.
Okay, fair. So you really like the whole secret world aesthetic, and you really enjoy that feeling of power that Vampire hands to the players.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, cool, cool. Was there anything about the experience that you didn't like or kind of rubbed you the wrong way?
I don't think so. I think everything this time around was pretty dang good for me.
Okay. No complaints are the best kind of complaints. That's fair. Okay. What was your role, and did you feel that you were able to accomplish it?
I think I did. I was playing the face, obviously, and I think I went in with an idea of the type of face I was going to be, and I'm glad to say I think I pulled that off well enough. I think if we were to play a longer version of this, a campaignified version, I would be able to get the intricacies down and perfect that type of play style better and flesh out the character more. But I I think I did. I covered my area of expertise pretty well.
Okay, and do you feel the game system really played into that as well?
Yeah, I think the game system was real good. I think being a face in this is real fun. I like the all of the powers that sort of lend to that, and it's I feel like it's not that difficult to spec into a face in this system. A lot of things I feel like help with that, and which I like because that also means that there you can make a lot of like varied types of faces. So like not every charismatic character is the same like going into it. You can sort of switch it around and do different things with it easier and
Okay.
have it supported by the mechanics on top of that.
That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. A lot of games offer different ways of, I guess, facing for a game.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. And I already asked you what made Vampire different from other tabletops, did I?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I asking everyone questions to try to keep it all straight in my head. Okay. Well, then I guess all I really need to know is on a scale 1 to 10, 1 being you never wanted to play this game again, and 10 being I can't wait for my next session, how likely would you be to play Vampire again?
I think a 10, 9 or 10.
9
I
or 10.
would really enjoy doing another vampire game or just another game in this world in general. It's fun times.
Okay, that's pretty good praise. All right, well, that's all I really need from you. But go ahead and leave us off with some. What's your final thoughts on Vampire? Voice anything that you might be thinking of, or anything you want the audience to know.
I think that it's really fun. I think if you're going to play this game, have an understanding of the kind of campaign you're doing in it, because at least for this one shot, I feel like if you're playing a longer campaign, it's not as important because you'll get a bit more of everything. But I felt like in this one shot in particular, me as the face, I felt like I sort of had like the role, and then everyone else played kind of a supporting role just because of how like the it was going with having to talk to so many people and all that. Like it wasn't that like other people. I felt like I had a bigger role in it than other people, and I felt like it would be better for other people if there were more aspects, which I'm sure would come out in longer games. But yeah, I think. But like you said, I do feel like it probably is in its best form in a social political type campaign.
That's true. And to be fair, our investigators also kicked ass in this session
Yeah.
as well.
They did have some very good moments there.
All right, well, that's all I needed. Go ahead and let Vale know that they have a few seconds to live.
Okay.
Welcome.
I want you to know that the amount of delay in between you grabbing people and other people is fucking us up in the other chat.
Is it really?
You like instantly grab somebody before they could be warned one time, and then ever since then, like somebody comes back and they're like, "It's your turn. You only have so long left. Run while you can," and then you don't grab us immediately, so we're just continuing on the bit while also making fun of the fact that like any moment now we'll be dead. And then finally there's the bloop and we're gone.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, like, because it felt like Alicia didn't get notified, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll wait longer. And so I went and did like a bathroom break for Alex, and then after Alex, I waited like 5-6 seconds.
Yeah,
But
sometimes
apparently
we were just like talking too much for her to be warned.
I see.
But yeah, so that's how we've been entertaining ourselves.
It's okay. If it's fun for y'all, then it's good. But all right, so welcome to the interview. How'd you enjoy Vampire?
It's good. I enjoyed it. I like the differing dice systems. It's but I think more than anything, it's just like I really like a lot of the World of Darkness stuff, and even if I don't agree with all of it, and I think some of it's really like messy and all over the place, trying to make so many things fit in the same universe, I am really sweet on vampire and werewolf. So
That's fair. All right, well, then speaking on that, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you absolutely hated it, and 10 being it's your new favorite tabletop system, where would you place Vampire?
it's like a 6 or a 7. It's not like if I had a huge choice of all the games, like systems that I've played, Vampire would necessarily be my first choice. It's nothing against the system, it's just there's other stuff that I like more.
That's fair. You know, what's surprising, 6 to 7, that's actually much lower than everyone else has been putting it. I've had very solid 9s across the board.
I would probably play Werewolf a bit higher than this. And there's other systems just that I like more because I've had more experience with some of these systems than most people.
That's fair.
I've
That's fair.
gotten to play a lot of different systems, even if they're just one shots. So
That's true. Well, you know, that's the great thing about what we're doing on this channel. We're trying out all kinds of games so that players can get immediately hooked and then go cold turkey immediately.
yeah, I would
afterwards.
absolutely never say no to a Vampire the Masquerade game, but it's not like the top of my list.
That's fair. That's fair. What separates Vampire from other tabletops for you?
I think a lot of the World of Darkness games are fun with their like success system, which I mean it's not fairly common. Like there's Shadowrun and stuff like that have the whole throw a whole dice pool down. But it kind of gives you a weird variety of you could have tons of fucking criticals or tons of fucking critical failures. You
Yep.
could roll 16 dice and eat absolute shit on all of them, but more often than not, you're dependable at the skills that you're good at because you have so many chances to be good at them. And that feels good for the creatures and stuff that you play in World of Darkness. It's fitting that you have so much leeway. And you have a lot of other resources that you get to use to beef it. And I think that's kind of what sets Vampire and some of the other World of Darkness settings away from other stuff is their systems let you be an overpowered creature of the night or whatever. They just make sure to also throw stuff at you that can beat the shit out of you.
That's fair. So you really, really like the dice system, and you enjoy the amount of power that the game gives to the players. Is that right?
Yeah, no, it hands you the tools to be an overpowered piece of shit and then grinds you into the dirt for thinking you're an overpowered piece of shit.
That's fair.
Eventually.
Okay. Well, then, was there anything about the game system that you didn't like or may have rubbed you the wrong way?
No, I think World of Darkness is making their strides to the modern era with they've had some less than stellar things in some of their systems. Vampire the Masquerade is not exempt of that. But they've gotten better at addressing and kind of refitting some of the lore and the clan stuff that's a little shady. It is still a game that deals with dark stuff, but like ultimately, there's nothing in the system itself mechanically that I don't like. I wish the core book had all of the clans in it. It's not like there's so many that you couldn't, and they kind of rolled some of the disciplines into each other that I really don't like that. I don't like that like Protean and Serpentis are the same thing now or whatever. Like stuff like that. The more you can like diversify these different bloodlines, that's like a lot of the fascination with it. Like, don't just give me I can turn invisible like Nosferatu if I'm the clan of fucked up shadow magic. Give me fucked up shadow magic.
Yeah.
That's probably my biggest grievance with the newer system.
Okay, that's a very fair, and that's a good opinion to come from someone who knows at least a bit more than everyone else kind of did with it.
Yeah, I like all the lore and stuff, so I know more about the other system because I wanted to know more about the lore, and you end up picking up system information while reading through Wikipedia pages.
That's fair.
And like game logs and stuff.
Okay, cool. So what was the role that you were trying to perform, and do you feel like you were able to do that in the game?
I was trying to play yet another investigative character, but more on the occult side. Both of them are occult, but like one crazy supernatural and one like magic intellectual. And then to play a mage who's also a vampire in a vampire game. Unfortunately, a one-shot is not good for that. I did not get to use any of my like rituals, but I only had like 2 or 3, so it really isn't a big deal. I figured as much that it probably wouldn't come up unless we got into a slugfest. So I got as much mileage out of the character as I was pretty much planning to. I figured what would be more likely. I mostly just made the character because I thought they would be neat.
That's fair, and I think that's a good way to make characters. And yeah, unfortunately, again, with these one-shots,
I
can't
told
do
everybody
everything.
in the chat, like when we were talking about it while you snatched your first for the interview, was I intentionally did not play a Ventru, a Toreador, or a Malkavian for the one shot because I would get too attached to a face character or a character that I made well enough that I would roleplay live a character who's mentally fucked.
Yeah.
So to prevent immediately regretting having played this one shot because I want to play a campaign, I just made a character I knew that I wouldn't mind too much.
That's fair. And I did my best to warn everyone. I did say probably no combat, a lot of social. You guys are doing an investigation.
Yeah,
But
no, I made my skills for what they needed to be, and I got to be the one who got some successes to help out and round out stuff. So yeah, no, I did my part, and I enjoyed mostly just listening to the bullshit.
yeah, around Alex's character especially. Okay, well with that, I guess I only got one more question, and on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you never wanted to play the game again, 10 being you absolutely can't wait for your next session, what would you rate on how likely you'd be to play Vampire again?
If you ran a campaign of Vampire, it would be a 10.
Okay.
But I also just am not in any like long-running campaigns with you right now, so
I know,
that you're running
it's
at least.
tragic.
We have to fix that.
We do. Unfortunately, it's just the days I've been available, you've not been available. And
Well, we'll be moving soon. We move on the 16th next month, and once we're settled in and I have a job and have my schedule all out, you will get a nice message with all of my available days and hours, and then we'll all stare at Alex because he's not available for any of them.
Yep. Yeah, we'll figure something out for sure. I definitely miss playing with the group, the core group. It's been way too long, and
We got to get the children's campaign gang back together.
yeah. Well, plus Suzanne. I think Suzanne's been.
Oh
a
yeah,
really good
absolutely.
addition.
Suzanne needs to be back in. Oh yeah, I could just say the Finwith and Co gang.
Yeah. I also like get Bep in a game if that was at all possible. I think Bep would be a good addition as well. But
I
there's
think, yeah,
4 of
smaller
you.
groups. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all I need from you. But go ahead and leave us off. What are your final thoughts on Vampire the Masquerade? Anything you want to let the audience know?
I think that if you have a table that you can trust to deal with some darker fantasies and impulses in society, um, while not like glorifying them, that Vampire makes a really, really good game. However, it is definitely something that you want to play as a campaign. It is, I would never suggest Vampire as a one shot. You get a bit too sucked into the really immense lore. So if you like a world that's really well defined with lore and NPCs plotted out with whole societies interconnected and literally hundreds and hundreds of years of history to pull plot hooks from and characters, yeah, absolutely give World of Darkness a whirl. If you want more campaign combat heavy, go Werewolf, the Apocalypse. If you want more social, go Vampire the Masquerade. And then let your players enjoy the high before you put them down.
All right. Good words, Anon. And yeah, that's all I need. So I guess I'll send you back to the others.
Sounds good. Lost the game.
I lost the game. All right. So for my final thoughts on VTM, Vampire the Masquerade is one of the most immersive, deep lore-ridden stories that I think anyone can get into as far as tabletop is concerned. It's an absolutely fantastic game, and it definitely plays to a much more heavy narrative or role-playing based kind of audience. The mechanics and overall how the game fights are passable, and you can definitely do so, even though we did not do so in this one shot. But I would say that the game flourishes more when you start delving into the more social aspects and narratively driven scenes of Vampire the Masquerade. It's definitely something I would like to call more of a cinematic style tabletop, where the game is at its best when you're making a very interesting and evoking scene, kind of foregoing some of the more turn-based style combats if you can avoid it, just so that you can have more cinematic moments. Your characters are supposed to feel strong. They're supposed to feel like they can do whatever they want except for challenge, the upper hierarchies. There's a lot of times where I feel like combat can just be completely surpassed in Vampire the Masquerade, just because there's so many opportunities to just use your powers in ways that make it trivial to do combat sometimes, especially against humans, but not always. There are the hunters, after all, which is a game we might look into in the future. I overall think that Vampire the Masquerade is one of the better World of Darkness games, and it's just one that I think a lot of people really enjoy, because you get to play very powerful, charismatic, almost perfect kind of characters, and I feel that's cathartic for some people. Not only that, but the kind of hints at darker themes, and just kind of the fact that even in the World of Darkness, there is so much that even the most eldest of vampires don't know about the world, because so many worlds are kind of mixed into it. It's really an impressive series overall, and I think the World of Darkness series as a whole is incredibly interesting, though not very easy to blend together, as certain kind of character archetypes have different power scalings. I think the skills work well in Vampire the Masquerade. I think it's very easy to designate what makes a skill check, and not only that, but it's very flexible. There aren't hard set what attributes apply to what kind of skill checks. You can mix and match as you feel appropriate for the scene. It can make a lot of characters a lot more viable in a lot of scenes. Maybe they're not a very strong character, but if they come up with a good inventive way to use their intelligence to help them lift something or pry open a door, I think that intelligence could be a very viable way of opening a door in a, more brutal kind of fashion. It's just one of those things where Vampire is so good at just making the players feel like they always have the right tools in any given situation in some form or another. And I think that if you're a very narrative grade style player, that is going to be definitely the game for you. I feel if you have a lot more of a mechanical tendency, it's something that is not going to necessarily appeal to you all the time. The combat is okay at best, not its best quality, but not worse. It's definitely passable for sure. And there's a lot of things in the game that can, narratively at least, make the game more interesting for your players outside of just having conversations, obviously. I do love game mechanics, and I do love games that have a good blend between the two. I still say that Vampire is an amazing game, an easy 8 out of 10 from me on the tabletop scale, and that's just for my own preferences. Honestly, it's still a really great game, and I'll be more than happy to run a game again. In fact, I think I could do a really, really good Vampire the Masquerade campaign. But things as they are right now, we don't have the ability to dive in any further. So I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope that this video here provided some insights for you. Feel free to ask questions down in the comments below, as we're more than happy to answer any of our opinions on such. And I didn't do this earlier, I should have, but whatever. If you like this video, please like the video. I gotta stop doing that. And if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. Here at Bad Luck Gamer, we are trying to expand the tabletop universe as a whole. Even though we do cover predominantly Pathfinder 2e content, we are striving to do more with tabletop in general, and that includes these once a month one-shots where we test new game systems, get our opinions, and overall expand our horizons in the tabletop scope. So if you enjoy that, please subscribe, and if you want to participate in that in the future, you can join our Discord down below, where we talk all things tabletop, including things like Warhammer 40k. And as I've been alluding to, we also recruit there first, running the games that I run. So if you want the chance to play with me and my friends, you can join us there. And if you don't want to do anything as committal as joining a Discord, we have the Twitter link down below, where I try my best to talk on Twitter and to have some kind of social media presence. I'm getting better, I promise. I at least talk about things like the giveaways that we've been doing down there, though. So if you're interested in something like that, please check it out. But with that, we're going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you all so much for watching. Good luck with your games. Leave the bad luck to me, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.